What was Indy when he first met Maxwell?
Indy was almost asleep when he first met Maxwell the monster.
What noise did Indy hear?
Except for a strangely shuffling noise coming from the closet.
What did Indy begin to do?
He began to tremble and drew the blankets up around his face.
Where did Indy hide his face?
Indy hid his face under his pillow.
What did Indy try to think of?
He shut his eyes and tried to think some nice things like his train set and ice cream.
Right. And what are good things you would think of?
Ball
A ball?
and soccer.
Soccer, good. And what did Indy's teeth start to do?
Indy's teeth started to chatter.
What did Indy see?
He saw the largest, scariest, hairiest monster.
What did the monster do to?
The monster laughed back in surprise and started screaming too.
What noise did the monster scream? Okay, next page. What did Indy point at?
Indy pointed at the hideous-looking creature.
What did Indy's mother and the monster do?
The monster and Indy's mother stared at each other in shock.
Where does Maxwell live?
He lives in the closet.
What did Indy stare at?
Indy stared at Maxwell's huge, hairy hands.
What did Indy stare at? Okay, it's the same question. Right? Okay. When was Maxwell Indy's mother's monster?
Maxwell was her monster when she was a little girl.
How did Maxwell look?
Maxwell looks slightly grouchy.
Why couldn't Indy's mother see Maxwell anymore?
Because she had stopped believing in him, so she couldn't see him anymore.
Okay, page 14. How could Maxwell reach up into high places?
Maxwell was tall.
Why was Maxwell good to have around when it was cold?
He was big and burly, so he would be good to have around when it was cold.
Why is Indy happy?
Because Indy always wanted him very own monster.
What did Indy and Maxwell become?
Indy and Maxwell become great friends.
What was Indy never afraid of again?
Indy was never again afraid of the dark.
Okay, are you afraid of the dark?
No. Indy was almost asleep when he first met Maxwell the monster. It was late one night, and his bedroom was dark and quiet, except for a strangely shuffling noise coming from the closet. Indy was sure it was a monster. He began to tremble and drew the blankets up around his face. The monster grunted and the closet shook. Indy hid his face under his pillow. The monster began to shuffle around and rattled the closet door. Indy's teeth started to chatter. He shut his eyes and tried to think some nice things like his train set and ice cream. The closet door creaked and began to slowly open. Indy picked out Hope and Popeland. When suddenly out jumped the largest, scariest, hairiest monster he had ever seen. Ah! Screamed Indy. The monster leapt back in surprise and started screaming too. Ah! What on earth is wrong? Shocked Indy's mother as she rushed into the room. It's monster, cried Indy, pointing at the hideous-looking creatures. The monster and Indy's mother stared at each other in shock. And then the strangest thing happened. With a huge smile on her face, Indy's mother threw her arms around the monster and gave him a big hug. Maxwell, she squealed happily. Maxwell, what are you doing here? Indy's mother asked. This is my new closet, he replied. What are you doing here? This is my home and this is my son, Indy, she answered. Maxwell grabbed Indy's hand and shook him vigorously. Pleased to meet you. I'm Maxwell, your new monster. With his mouth hanging open his amazement, Indy stared and Maxwell hugged Harry hands. You two know each other in this as Maxwell was my monster when I was a little girl. His mother explained, but one day he just disappeared without even saying goodbye. Maxwell looked slightly guilty. I wanted to say goodbye, but you have stopped believing in me, so you could see me anymore. I see you now, she said. Maxwell nodded at her. That's because Indy believes in me. Well, he does. I'm here to stay. Indy's mother looks distant. Oh, Indy, you've got your very own monster, aren't you, Lucky? Indy thought about how useful it would be to have his own monster. Maxwell was tall, so he could reach up into high places. He was big and burly, so he would be good to have around when it was cold. Someone like Maxwell was bound to scare spiders away, but most of all, despite his appearance, Maxwell was nice. What more could you wanted him a plant? Indy grinned. Yes, I'm lucky, he said. I always wanted my very own monster. That is how Maxwell came to live in Indy's closet. Indy and Maxwell became great friends, and Indy was never again afraid of the dark. Although he often wondered if there was something living under his bed. But that's another story.